Hi all, it's me Aki from Bring Forth again, and this is finally the much wanted update to the budget thing. I'm at a friend's place. He's kind of camera shy, but he may appear here. And I am playing just Finland. I won't be adding Karjala, and I'll be playing for 4 years. That's the current length of the government administration thing. So I will be playing for 1 government cycle's worth. And noise map is still broken, so I'm gonna have to use YouTube. There we go. There we go. Kyllä sä voit sieltä ponkkia tänne, jos sä haluat. Mulla on nyt nauhalla, se näyttää niinku tämmösen alueen. Joo, kyllä se näyt siinä ihan hyvin. Siitä vaan istumaan sä haluat. Sit mä pidän tästä käytöstä tän noise-nappia.
Eli?
Hakkerointikartta. Näkee, missä maailman nettiliikenne menee, jos sä oot kattonut koskaan
Se näytetty sun aikaisemmin.
Joo. Niin tossa näkee hyvin tuonne, että miten maailman nettiliikenne menee, niin siinä ei ole niinku mitään sillain ihmeellistä, tai miten se nyt sanois hyvin. No niin. Tää mun mielestä toimii. Tossa 4 sekuntia. Otin äänet mukaan. Tällä hyvä salaatti, mutta oli kiitos. Leader's name is Evengard Trond. For some reason, we are the Center-Right Independent Party, which is the same muutos. As you all know, we're the Center-Right Independents. Yes, it is fiction. I know it's fiction, but it's the best fiction available. Love and business and family and religion and art and patriotism are nothing but shadows of words when men are starving. Says William Sidney Porter, 1862 to 1910, 4 years before the First World War. Let's do this! Got in my eyes. We should have test drive if this actually gets into the game with these settings or not. But as far as I know, this should work. Which is usually not much. There we go. Historic, not heroic. Go. 108 days till the next election. Let's take a look at the world situation first. This we should look at. As you can tell, the African nations and South American nations hate us compared to the previous game where they were our friends. Russia is neutral to us, and the previous game they were hostile to us. And economically speaking, we're doing fairly well. The only really hostile country towards us in the world is Syria and North Korea. So that's not a weird thing. I have nothing to look at the comparison menu yet. And our country is very underdeveloped at the moment. There are almost no superhighways and almost nothing worth mentioning. So I'll try to do this thing well. I'm not gonna point those guys manually. Husband. They are supporting same-sex marriage. They're very, very open about it. Oh, if I could only have a husband, life would be easier. Me. Extreme poverty is increasing. I know, man. That's why I'm doing this. 53 seats, 27% of parliament. Ooh. As if that was really possible. I don't know how much work they'd have to do. Yes, fear in the city. I also agree that there's a lot of crime in our country. Crime rate is suspiciously high. Yeah, and purchasing power is exceptionally low. And the Americans think our rating agency is good. And the committed filmmakers are telling me to reduce my wage, which I agree with completely. There we go, cabinet is ready. About a week in. Tolerate the monitor sects. Because we want to know if you really believe that your leader is an immortal being, you can be fairly sure we'll ask you about it. This is a hard question because it isn't subject to approval in as much as it's subject to approval. But of these things, I would have to do influence official religion in state functioning. And once again, I will cheat myself through all of these things. I don't really care if you don't give me that. Tolerate and monitor all minority religions. So you can see my support is dropping because I'm making some harsh choices. I can't do one of these things that I'd want to do. If there's an association or a union that is similar to another union or overlaps with another union or syndicate, I would have to disband the smaller one. It would generate a lot of free manpower, but to be fair, it's an insane amount of work, and there are some things that I will just gloss over because they're too much work. Associations tolerated and monitored. I think they were completely free. No, I was tolerated and monitored. Limited and monitored because the right to strike does not mean you have the right to destroy equipment. You have the right to refuse to work, and that's about the size of it. And you can't be fired for that decision, but that's about the size of it. And everything that happens in the country is by definition monitored by the country, so it doesn't mean that we're against them, it just means that there's reason for us being curious about you. And the rest is done. Because we are as free multi-party as you can be without being under state control. We don't want the state control thing. And here's some organizations that I may want to join, but to be honest, they aren't for me. I was thinking of a couple of these, but in the end they probably aren't for me. Like, if I wanted to join NATO, I could. If I wanted to join BRICS, I couldn't, because the Eastern thing doesn't like us geographically. If I want to join G20, it's impossible, because you can only get in by an invite. So, that's about it. I will try to get into G20, but I can already guarantee you they ain't gonna help me. And I wanna apply for a loan, but I don't wanna do it through this system. I wanna do it through the what's it called again? IT tax, there we go. And to be honest, I wanna question what you're doing. I wanna question the activities of the European Union. And I also wanna question the legitimacy of the United Nations. This ain't gonna happen, but I'll ask for a seat as a permanent member. Because it ain't gonna happen. And there are these options once I get some kind of intelligence network going that I want to try the internal security of another country and denouncing another country and intervention against another country, but they aren't something I want to do now. Also, questioning IMF and questioning World Bank. That's about the size of it. Now these guys are all at the right side of things. And development aid will not be going to countries that have nuclear weapons, because if you have enough money to blackmail the entire world, then you have enough money to take care of your own shit. We don't need to pay you anything. You can do you. Either you dismantle your nuclear weapons or we won't give you anything. And we also don't want to give developmental aid to countries that have a military dictatorship, but this is far too troublesome to do at this point, so I will just remove all the nuclear nations. Now I think I got them all. Yeah, I think I got them all. Seems like I got them all. There's 4 of them, I think. China, Russia, India, and Pakistan, I believe, are the 4 countries that get developmental aid, even though they have a large nuclear stockpile. And I don't want to reduce the total number of aid we give, so we need to find a suitable democratic nation to give money to. Afghanistan is a religious communist. No. Albania is a parliamentary socialist. Okay, I'll read to Albania. And I will slightly increase my total amount of foreign aid, but not by much. So total should be about even. So we aren't taken for a ride for not giving to foreign aid, but just not giving a lot to foreign aid. Also, we want to stop all weapons embargoes, because that's not our business. We believe that you have the right to buy weapons regardless of who you are. And there are no entry bans or exit bans, so there's nothing to do in that section, as far as I can tell. Elections are currently impossible. Legislation upgrades are currently impossible because an election process is going. I promise you that if you follow me in this particular venture, we'll get a 7% economic growth. We'll actually end up not having a lot of criminals, and the crime rate will be 4.9%. That's what I promise you. The rest, you may be on your own. Cabinet is done. And there's no personality cult, thank God. I will visit one location in Sisasuami for university, and that is the size of it. And I will order a detailed poll. I want to know what you guys think. I can't change my personal wage at the moment. We have to wait until after the election. Now, I don't remember how high the national youth movement was, but these are things that I will just by hand in the comment section, because these are small details. I will try to live in the setting and then think what the feeling is. Do we have too much of this or too much of that, or too little of this or too little of that, and then I'll add to the comment section and see how right we got this thing. I'm paying for the best of everything because I'm first cheating for money, and then once we have the low unemployment thing, which we actually will get just by hiring a lot of more nurses and teachers and similars, then I will remove the cheat for money. But for now I will have the cheat for money. But large stadium to Sisä-Suomi, one jonnekin Pohjois-Suomi, distribute all over territory. I'm constructing a lot more sports arenas and sports facilities because we are absolutely lacking in that field. It's a disgrace how far we're lacking in that field. It's an absolute disgrace. Private and public, state pressures and influences, because don't even attempt to tell me that the state doesn't influence media. I mean, just don't even try that. And then pay for all the culture, pay all the things. Because we're not doing a gradual, slow change, we're doing a drastic change, because that's what we would do if we were to become power. We wouldn't try to gloss over the few small things that have been done wrong. We would probably redo everything. That's what the unusual parties are for. They're your exit ticket when you happen to be up in your own business. 5 museums. Wow. 0 grand libraries. Monument dedicated to head of state. 1. Criticism of state is freedom of expression. Criticism of religion is respectful to beliefs. Violence is freedom of expression. And eroticism and pornography is freedom of expression. These are both things that probably get me hanged if I actually propose them, but let's try it anyway. Annual National Day, what's the day? 8 January, and theme will be God damn it, there's no porn theme. Okay, okay. And budget will be 5 million. It's a yearly celebration to celebrate the fact that we got into power. Yay. And also all into the research, which is expensive as hell, but we'll do it anyway. And we need to, at least cautiously speaking, double the number of researchers. Let's go with 55,000. Then notice when they start complaining that the buildings are full. And nuclear fission will sell, and holographic television will sell. Nothing else we will patent, publish, because we will keep them patented. Actually, let's do it this way. We will publish all of these technologies and we will patent the military stuff. Because we don't want to hold back the world technological development. It's good for us that everybody's developed. It's more the stuff that we want. There we go. No new research buildings. This is probably the second most expensive thing, actually paying for education. Paying for hospitals is by far the most expensive thing. And let's, at least cautiously speaking, double the amount of teachers. You're going to need a lot more than that. Let's go release that. 14 students per teacher in primary education. God, how can you manage that? Are you insane? No control over school programs because, freedom of information. Maximum school age is 15, and number of school days vacations maximum, because we'll keep you here for the lowest amount of time possible. We expect you as a child to do something besides stay at school. We are expecting you to do things like play outside and have fun. Develop a good psyche about social communication. And then we do the high-speed trains between Helsinki and Espoo. Confirm 44 million, 440 million. Tampere and Vaasa. Also Turku isn't in this map. Pisses me off that they don't have Turku on this map. And from Tampere to Oulu. I don't think there's one city north of that, there isn't. And from Sisä-Suomi to Helsinki. Cheaper that way. There we go, that's all the infrastructure for the train. We aren't connecting every city to every city, for example, just every city to the closest one that's feasible for them. And we will need a medium traffic airport. It will be in Lapland. And we will need an intensity traffic airport, and it will be in Tampere. This is supposed to be in Helsinki, but you can't upgrade an airport in this game, so who on that? Then we'll add a port, and we'll add an oil tanker port. There we go. Now we have roughly the infrastructure that we wanted. It's 7.47 billion instead of like 1 billion a year. Then I know this is bugged like with nearly 100% certainty, but we will fix all the housing and see if they are all actually fixed. Ah, it worked. That was nice. Monthly rent allowance is 0, because we don't want to pay you for rent, we want to pay you for civilian service, or basically have a citizen wage and not a rent increase. And there is no aid for property purchases because we don't want a housing bubble. It's very dangerous for us. And rent increases are no regulations because you can ask for anything you want in your rent. It's not our business what you ask for. So our manpower ran out in housing. Same-sex parent adoption, of course. This is the certainty because it's better than foster care. We're going with what is the lowest level of our society and legalizing everything that seems to help that. And this is after a long and hard consideration. I will not be going with marriage rights for homosexuals nor civil union. I will go with no union but legal homosexuality. This is after a long debate. I don't think this is a question where we need to advance yet. And abortion is illegal except in cases of rape or birth defects, because if we give full right of abortion, we will be, in effect, guaranteeing that women have a far superior position in society in relation to men, and that's just wrong, so we won't be going there. Contraception is tolerated but discouraged because we prefer that you're actually faithful to your spouse instead of worrying about things like condoms, so that's why we also have a single child policy, which is actually a single family policy, meaning we will punish you if you cheat on your spouse, but we haven't decided how. We will just punish you somehow. We will be creative. There is no family allowance because we don't want to pay you to have a family. And here's the population statistics. If somebody is interested, they will be changing very quickly. And then full unemployment agency costs 4.3 billion. And we will give you 49% of your previous salary if you're unemployed, not 50 something. And we will give you 3 months to find a job, not 10 months. These are all very much harder things than they are currently. And our work week is not 38 hours, because that would be, roughly speaking, 5 days a week. We would like to go to a 3-day week, but our economy can't take it, so we will be just going to a 4-day week. It will be harshly opposed. There's no minimum wage, and the minimum solidarity allowance is a lot more than 50. So we're thinking of solidarity allowance somewhere in the order of 700. That would allow for you to take care of yourself and have all the things that you basically need, but it won't allow you to be a douche. 400 and 500 that we're at now is too low. It feels like work in the wrong way, so we'll go with 700. Support is 100%. And this is the big kahuna that will cost an immense amount of money, fully compensating our healthcare programs. The only thing we won't be compensating for is unemployment benefits for people who are pregnant, but that is the only thing we won't be compensating for. Coverage for pregnancy periods will be at 0, because we don't like the concept of paying for somebody to become pregnant. That's a choice that we are very interested to keep. And the number of doctors needs to be at least double. Population per medical doctor is 657 persons per 1 doctor. And you can tell by basic math that that's far, far, far too much. We are at very high in the list. There are 141 countries that are worse off than us. The leading country is Slovakia with 282 patients per doctor, and that is still far too much. Because you have to understand that it's 650 people, individuals, that you have to take care of yourself, and you're responsible for those. And it's like, if you think in terms of military unit size, how much work there is in trying to maintain that sort of unit, I can tell you that most doctors aren't qualified. And it's just too much. Retirement age, I would prefer this to be a lot lower than 61 for both, but like with the workers' benefit, unemployment comp or whatever, we are having to make some hard decisions. Income tax and exoneration for private retirement schemes is complete, because if you have money saved for your retirement, it's your business, and the same for companies. This is not a thing that actually has to do with us. No euthanasia in any way. I won't tolerate it, and possession of cannabis is legal. I won't tolerate euthanasia because I won't tolerate abortions. That's the way I work. And military command controls the army, not me personally, because I don't know enough about the army to actually be the guy who controls it. And monthly salary will be 300 more. And since this number is adjustable twice, I will put it to 75,000 now. So as you know, we will have 75,000 soldiers, professional soldiers. Military reservist training is 4 months. It's a lot lower than our current 6 months or 5 months. And once again, there are no weapons embargoes in our system. We could produce nuclear weapons in secret. We will actually produce them openly, but we will use the secret button for them. And we will purchase one aircraft carrier. It's insanely expensive, but we will use the black market for it. Can you imagine a black market aircraft carrier? And we will have 4 nuclear submarines. And we will have conventional submarines. We will have 5 plus what we have already. Then other surface ships we will have 10 plus the ones we have already. Like I've said, I'm of the opinion that Finland is dangerously underdefended. Point of becoming, well, endangered. We have in our country what can be termed a secret military that the certain kinds of people hold in place and make sure that everything goes well, but I don't like secret militaries. I don't like the idea of somebody underground having weapons that the government itself doesn't have access to. I don't like that. I don't think it says a good thing, and I don't think there are weapons even if they happen to be in our soil. To me, those are enemies. So that's about my opinion. I will also sell missile launchers because we have 1,000 of them and they are very easy and quick to build. So having 1,000 of them is insane. We will sell 750. Actually, we will sell 764. We make some amount of money. And we will sell 604. We made a lot of money here. Still isn't good, but we're doing a little bit better. And we will produce, last I checked, the smallest nuclear arsenal in the world was Pakistan's, and it was 130 nuclear missiles. We will check this. And we will produce half of what they have, and we will be open about it. Nuclear warheads, Pakistan is 100 and India is 90. This is wrong data. This is such a wrong data. Yeah, this data is off. United States currently has less nuclear weapons than Russia, for example, and this data is very, very off. But we'll go with it. We'll go with half of India's, which will be 90 to half, which will be 45. Because we want to be at least at half of what the smallest nuclear power has by definition, and if one of them starts to dismantle their nuclear arsenal, we will start to dismantle our nuclear arsenal. It's kind of, I wouldn't say it's holding them blackmail, but it's very close. It's one of those things that will probably get us ass raped. You know, it happens. Foreign nationals have unlimited right to vote. We are absolutely sure of that. Tourist visas are mandatory. We're also absolutely sure of that. And we are at the wrong map. Because this is really bothersome to look at. And then we will deport all the illegal immigrants that we can get a hold of, and we will give illegal immigrants based on a criteria of integration, access to the country. Because we will exceed to have the thing go through automatically, we will actually have most of the guys get into the country and most of the guys working well. Restrictive and monitored because we are, as the situation goes, very against open immigration. And we are not allowing anybody into the territory, but it doesn't actually mean nobody gets into the territory because these seem to be subjective rules, like a kind of a subjective thing of are you very much in this direction or are you very much against this direction. Like, for example, you can actually stop tourism. People want to come to your country and pay you, so fine, but you know what I mean. We'll see how many immigrants we actually get once this thing is done. Unrestricted sale to adults of all weapons, because this is one of those things that's a basic human right. sentences of less than 3 months will be given amnesty at the same time. We actually got on the order of a little, something like 18,000, no, like 14,000 more people into our country when we did the best illegal immigrants get papers. High Court judge is appointed by the state. The American model, I know it's unpopular, but I'll go with it. And we need a surprisingly large number of new prisons, but we are currently limited by not having enough manpower, so this will take a while. Secret services get fully funded. And we will get more than those. Those numbers are locked until the work numbers increase. And I will do industrial spying for all of these guys. I want to know everything about your industry. And if at all possible, I will be trying to get all of your industrial secrets. But, you know, because we want to develop as fast as we can. We're like the Japanese at the start of the century. If you have a new industrial method of doing something, you can be guaranteed that one of our spies will be looking at it. Syria actually does have a industrial level. By land, nothing. United Arab Emirates has industrial technology. Venezuela, nothing. Vietnam, nothing. We are left over 44 spies. We will create a spying network in Argentina. There we go, 44 spies to Argentina. And we will send our top guy to China just because. And we actually need spy satellites. We will order them from Israel, because they seem to be good at spying on everybody, so they are assumed to be good at building spy satellites. And the price will be 558, 49, 46. I will approve this contract. So those spy satellites should be arriving at some point, but it's gonna take a while, and there are no terrorists in our country. Financial and Economic Squad, 0. Internal Affairs, 2 stars. Local District Police, 3 stars. You've got to be kidding me. Fully funding the police costs an additional 8.8 billion. Nice. Nice. That's walking around money. Level of ID checks is strong. Stock of surveillance cameras and automatic radar should be lower than it is, because we have, well, a lot of excess police officers, because these things are actually annoying. And they don't actually make you feel safe at all. They make you feel paranoid. And speed limit, this is something that people will oppose, but I will do it anyway. We need 250 on motorways, about 70 on trunk roads, and about 25 on cities, but I will go with 30 in cities, because most lethal accidents actually happen on inner cities instead of outer cities. And driver's license at 15, because we want to support as young people as possible getting into everything as possible. and alcohol level is high. This means we aren't actually punishing you for being a drunk driver, we're actually punishing you for being a bad driver. And or prostitution is legal and regulated, just because. Those guys need a union. Environment, full protection. This is once again gonna cost me a bundle. Our budget is 27% deficit. Nice. Regulate vehicle traffic in centers, urban centers reserved for public transport. This is something that people will oppose, but hump them. We are ratifying the Kyoto Protocol, and we will give you a tax benefit if you have a clean energy house or a clean energy car. We will not, however, give you a tax benefit for having a house. And this is one of those things that's going to take me a while. I don't know if I'm going to actually do this time, but the idea is that everything that requires somebody to be butchered, harmed, or even thought of being harmed is fully government, like weapons and meat industry, and things that are possible to do without harming but is rare is partial government owned, and the rest is public. So, for example, meat industry is completely government owned, weapons are government owned, IT software is partially government owned, and things like what would be a good example of partially government owned structure? Biomass energy. That would be a good example. But this will probably take me too long, and the effects are a little possible to simulate with the comment system, so it'll probably not get done, because that would require an insane amount of work for the moment. And administration gets 220, army gets 230, police gets 240, health gets 250. Actually, health gets 260. Research gets 270, and education gets 250. Everybody gets a minor boost in their wages, but not much. We don't have the ability to influence our currency rate. We would like to have that, but okay, we will just stay in the EU if they allow us to stay. And tax investigation is frequent and very repressive. We want to know that you're actually paying the taxes. We will give you a pardon for small offenses while we come into power, because we just don't like that. Taxes and reinvestment in real estate, no. And no for charitable, and yes for war veterans. That's the only thing. And now we've basically gone through the entire system, almost. We will remove all the forms of taxation that seem arbitrary, or what I would call small taxes. We don't want those, because we really don't want to support harassment taxes, what I call these things. They aren't actually taxes to generate money, they're taxes to keep people aware of the government watching them. The government. So things like wine, pornography, tourists entering the territory, and so on. And if I wanted to be harsh or realistic about this, I would retain the tax on industrial pollution and increase it substantially. But I will actually do this. Actually, this is the only one that won't pass. Cancel. The rest I will auto-submit. Petroleum tax is finally gone. That's something people have been waiting for a good part of the last decades, almost a century now. go with a good neck massage. And income tax. Low and medium income tax will be significantly lowered, while high income tax will be significantly increased. And value-added tax will be a lot higher than it is. Let's go with 40%, cautiously speaking. And I have no idea how high our deficit will actually be now, because I just don't know. So instead of taking a risk, I will go with audiovisual tax. Because this is a thing that you can actually use as a cheat, as you can see. You can increase the amount of taxation per TV to insane levels, and people will still actually increase the number of TVs they have, because this seems to be a broken switch in the game. So I will use this to simulate having a loan, or basically as a buffer, and I will reduce this to 0, or I won't be able to consider this a complete game after I've done all the reforms. So we'll see what we get. We'll see what we get. Problem with this is now I have a 0% support rating. I will be thrown out of office. Oh no! Oh no! Here are the numbers for what the various things actually cost us now. Debt reimbursement is 2 billion a year. Unemployment insurance is 300. Employment and social is 5 billion. These aren't completely out of acceptable range, but these are high numbers, so okay, let's go forward. China likes me. Only organization members can propose and vote for a new member. Boing, boing, boing. A lot of these things are actually not necessary. Family committee is scandalous. Same-sex parenting. How horrible. Homosexual community is pleased. Well, that is impressive. Better than being in a foster shelter or one of those school buildings. There were plenty of options, and you would decide to nationalize marijuana because you were just a bad guy. Voting as for foreign nationals. Inconsequential and demagogic. Voting is a part of citizenship. Foreigners shouldn't be able to participate in any elections. If this basic concept is skate, it won't take long for reality to enlighten. And at your expense, the people will not follow your demagoguery. No. How about we don't let people into the country and we just let the people who are already in the country vote? How's that sound to you? That makes sense? It's totally misogynistic. Associate for Women's Rights is actually a guy. You talk to me about misogynistic, man? You talk to me? You want me to respect your opinion on women? Then have a JJ. That is such a bad one. It's not a problem. Save at this point. Eiköskin hauska tää mun valtionhallinto? niin. Ollaan muutama päivä jo päästy. No. Kukaan teistä ei ole mihinkään. Joo, mä tiedän, että haluatte mennä täyteen lakkoon. Mutta kaikki on täyteen lakkoon. Government's dictatorial policy, 50,000 people in the streets in Espoo. Oh no! Government security policy. Brotherhood of Lucifer. The Satanists are holding a rally. The sniff makes me feel like I'm at home. The new council of the occult. Yeah, no. Public service all-out strike. Magistrate federation all-out strike. Trade union all-out strike. This is gonna be easy. Demonstration for freedom of... Yeah, I know. It's because I didn't have a 100% support rating at the end of the game. Or the end of the first turn, actually. No! International Criminal Court has banned me because I appoint judges by government executive office. In other words, the International Criminal Court doesn't respect the US, which we already know, so that doesn't really bother me. Survey started. We all know the ICC is actually very much against the US, and we all know how that feels. Not good. Minister of Labor resigned. Bill and religious freedom, people are blocking the roads. I'm probably going to be deposed very soon. No. 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 Religious interference is a source of absolutism, says the guy whose flag has its own religious symbol. Oh yes, I know. Very, very bad. Freedom of association. I'm not gonna give you the right to strike because I saw what happened in Ukraine, you dumbass. No, you don't have the right to attack government officials just because you're pissed off at your employer. You don't have the right to say that the major religion in the country has no influence in political decisions. Those are just common sense things. I know I was deposed. So what? Because I will now embody the successor. This is the good side about being a spirit. Being an evil, disembodied, spirit is just... It makes ruling so easy. Oh, ihan kauheat Euroopan unionia mua vastaan. Ihan kauheat. The European Union hates me now. They all hate me now. This is very horrific. Finland government supervises all media activities. Yes, it does. We aren't gonna let you broadcast something in our internal network without being aware of what it is. And once again, this is mainly because we saw what happened at, various other countries. Sitting is still there and the situation is still slowly worsening. 74 guys from the Council of the Occult. I'm evidently very good. So says the oldest person in that country. So you're on a strike, even though I told you that being on a strike is going to result in the police coming for you. Well, that was good for you. You fought the power, man. Yes, we will now free the roads. We will let the advisor appoint those guys. Families are unhappy about the reduction of family benefits. Really? Wow. That is a surprise. Ambivalent success. Dramatic increase in extreme poverty.
No!
Destroy 800. Tax amnesty. Disturbances. "19 people into the hospital after we violently took over their protest. Let's free the roads," I agree entirely. Just hope I can avoid a civil war. It would be really unnice for me to have a civil war. Yes, we will order this special strike. One of those cities dispersed on their own. No, I won't have your resignation. I'm not doing a crisis. If there was no crisis, sure. You get to resign. I'm not doing a crisis. Finland wanted to join the Security Council, and what's this? This is 3, 6, 9, 11. 11 voted against and 4 voted abstention. Ha! The public service union's guy was found to be guilty of an actual crime and was sentenced. Ha ha! I told you. No. They want me to declare a state of emergency, however I feel, no. Yes, disperse and strike. Disperse and strike. Our top guys actually are. Argentinian cell is good. Unemployment is 11.89. Not a surprise. We just got this thing we do. So we have riots. Declare a state of emergency because they are sieging the capital. Purchasing power's on the rise. Go back to normal riots. No. Now we have military in power. New head of army. We still have